Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is an online drawing group. Feel free to check us out and to sign up via the doobly-doo below or go to the Facebook page, Epic Sketch Time, and you can sign on to the MailChimp email list located in the About section. My name is Mark Monlux. I'm a freelance illustrator in Tacoma, Washington. And today I'm working on a book cover. Bill, what are you up to?
Hi, I'm Bill Morse. I'm a freelance illustrator and cartoonist from Seattle, Washington, and I'm currently working on a Sunday comic strip.
And howdy, everybody. My name is Ian Castruita. You can find my stuff at iancastruita.com, enconline.com, and my webcomic is unfedartist.com. I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, and cartoonist working out of Arizona. Today, I am working on my next strip.
So, Ian, is your Patreon page underneath Unfed Artist as well? Because I know that Bill's is underneath Rhapsodies.
It is, yeah. I'm pretty sure if you just type in patreon.com/unfedart, or not, I should double check. It's either artist or art. Let me see. Yeah, it's art. So Unfed Art.
And Bill was telling me before you signed on that he's doing pretty good with his Inktober challenge.
Yeah, Bill, what you're like 5 days ahead or something like that? Like,
Yeah, well, technically, yes, though because I'm also posting it on Patreon, I'm still fighting to keep up.
yeah. Yeah, you said that you did the 24-hour comic day before, right? And you were able to do that, or were you not?
The two times I did it, I was able to.
Yeah, I'd be astonished if you weren't, because your output is just like, it's like a floodgate opens.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's tough to do the 24-hour comic. I've done it 9 times, and of those I've succeeded 5.
Mm-hmm. I mean, occasionally I'm tempted to do it again, but I have enough trouble sleeping without messing up my sleep cycles, so.
Yeah, my sleep has been really awful lately. I've just like been sitting in bed until 3 a.m. So I decided I'm just going to start working and screw it. Like, I've been really trying to get my sleep cycle to be normal, but I just don't like the idea of just staying awake for 3 hours, staring at the sky and or I guess the ceiling.
The thing that I've started doing when mine's that bad, which at least makes me functional the next day, is sort of, I don't want to call it meditating, but essentially listening to an audiobook with my eyes closed, and if I'm lucky, I might fall asleep.
I've been taking my wireless headphones up to bed with me because I had one night of fairly sleeplessness where I was just staring at the ceiling for a couple hours, and I thought, okay, next time that happens, I'm going to listen to a book. And ever since I've been dragging my headphones up, that has not happened again. So maybe it's that slight little bit of precaution that'll allow you to get some better night's sleep.
I've found that audiobooks are my ultimate knockout drug.
What kind? I mean, are you listening to nonfiction or fiction or?
Generally fiction. The trick, it's not that it's boring. It's, I don't know how it works. I actually learned the trick completely by accident when because I like to listen to audiobooks while I work, and a few times I was just listening to audiobooks while going to bed without intent to go to sleep, and I barely lasted 15 minutes every single time, and all of a sudden I'm realizing, wait a minute, this is a feature, not a bug.
I mean,
So
for me, audiobooks, like I want to actually
yeah,
remember what I read, you know, or
I
I
have
guess listen to.
I have to put my audiobook on a timer. Um, so I'll listen to it for about I'll set for 15 minutes and then it'll stop. Now my wife, what she does is she bookmarks her last place. That way, if she doesn't remember how far she got, she can at least go back to where she bookmarked the audiobook.
Yeah,
But I usually don't have much problem falling asleep. As a matter of fact, back when I was a young man and had so much work I didn't know what to do, I adapted a sleep method that was printed up in Omni magazine. Or have I talked about this before?
I'm
I
I'm
don't
not sure.
remember.
Okay, so there was a sleep studies done back in the late 80s, and it was a student got the idea. It said, okay, Leonardo da Vinci was extremely productive. And he did the math and he figured he had to be awake way more than he was asleep. And ditto with Thomas Edison. But the thing was, Thomas Edison actually kept track of how he slept. And it was like would have a cot in his lab, and every couple of hours he would take a short little cat nap and then go back to work. And so in this study, they took 200 participants and they said, okay, here's your new sleep cycle. You're going to work for 4 hours, and then you're going to take a 20-minute cat nap. And then you're going to work for 4 hours and take a 20-minute cat nap, and then work for 4 hours and take a 20-minute cat nap. And then you're going to have this one period where you can sleep for 3 hours. So a key thing was being able to fall asleep very quickly. But they found that within a couple days, people could adjust to the new sleep cycle, and they got a lot done. I mean, they had so much time. They were actually bored. They had so much time. They were taking up new hobbies. They were, reading, doing a lot of things. But there were 2 individuals after this study who kept on. When they did a follow-up like 3 months later, they said, okay, are you still on that sleep pattern? And these 2 people were the only ones that stayed on, and it turned out that they were both graphic artists. And I thought, okay, that's the sleep pattern for me.
Oh.
So this was back in, I think, 92 I did this. And man, I got so much work done. It was amazing. But it was very key. You absolutely had to take that nap every 4 hours. And you absolutely had to take that longer chunk of sleep for 3 hours. Which you would think that would be okay, but actually it interrupts the day of your routine quite often because you only got a 4-hour gap. My wife would come home and she'd like to spend some time with me while she was cooking dinner, talking to me in the kitchen, but instead I'm lying on the couch taking a nap. Or then later on in the evening, there'd be prime time. She'd like to relax, talk with me, and there I am. I'm going off. I'm taking another nap. So she didn't like this schedule at all because it cut into our time together. But for a period of about 3 months, it was perfect. I was so booked with work. It was great. I got a lot done. And then I hear these people that say, "Oh man, I'm only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a day," and I'm thinking, well, that's how much I was getting, and I was functioning fine. I was getting enough REM sleep and stuff. So Ian, since you're a single guy and don't have any, keep your own hours.
Yeah.
How busy are you?
Well, I could be busier. I'm kind of struggling to find new work, but I mean, my problem is a lot of my healthcare is tied up with exercise and trying to remain active and everything, and I also need to cook for myself and all that. So finding time to do the chores like folding your laundry and all that stuff, it ends up taking a lot of time because you're single. You have to cook for yourself, and I think the exercise. Reality, I probably exercise maybe about an hour a day, but it always seems like a chore, and it always seems to, like, depending on the intensity, like it can kind of affect me, right? Like if I push it too hard, I'm just a slug for the rest of the day, and I'm just like, man, I should have not pushed myself because I'm having trouble thinking. Like all I want to do is sleep. So it's been tough for me, especially with this like new COVID routines. Like I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's just like my sleep has been awful. I think for me, like the having work, it makes me more productive. But when I'm left to my own devices and I'm trying to find work or like work on my own stuff, I'm just I procrastinate. I'll do things like do accounting for like 3 hours and like, oh, I should have actually done something that I could sell or something like that. And accounting is a bear. I started keeping track of all that, and it's
it is.
The time that I spend on it is awful.
I found that the only way I can really do accounting is if I tend to do it like everybody else in big chunks, but if I can actually do like half an hour or an hour of it a day, I can usually keep up on it. I have this policy that as soon as a bill comes in or the credit card comes in, I just pay it right then and there. I don't wait or let it linger around.
Yeah.
Not only do I pay it, but I also record it into the into my QuickBooks software.
Yeah, I switched time tracking to a website called Harvest, which I really like. I was using FreshBooks before, and not as satisfied with that. But well, I had been using it for almost 10 years at that point, but then they started to have issues that they couldn't resolve for me. So I switched over to Harvest. But every week, Harvest sends me, let me see if I cap it. They'll send me like, hey, here's your breakdown. Yeah, here we go. Weekly Harvest.
So do you open up Harvest as a website page and just keep it going in the background and it tracks you there?
Yeah. Like right now I'm tracking it because I'm not only am I doing Epic Sketch Time, but I'm also doing like the research for my comic, and I like this is a whole different discussion because I've been looking into value-based pricing and like the mechanics of that, and this is actually kind of going against that. But I like knowing where my hours are because like I said, sometimes I procrastinate and I get too stuck on things, and what ended up happening. I'll just spend, well, right here it says, okay, so I spent 81% of my time last week just on operations, and that's not ideal. Like my goal is to spend at least 50% on operations and 50 on like client work. And then
I'm looking at this. It's the website is getharvest.com.
Yeah. I really like it. It was actually cheaper than FreshBooks, and it's more feature rich. And
now it says that you get a 30-day free trial. Are you past that period at this point?
Yeah, I paid for it. I did do the free trial because, like I said, I was with FreshBooks for like 10 years, and I was like, well, I'm having trouble with it now, but I don't want to just dump it because they're giving me poor customer service, which is, you should be willing to walk away from something that's kind of going against your your business operations. Because what I was doing was I look at my reports in FreshBooks and the times would be off, and I'd be like, I really rely on these, can you fix this? And they're like, oh, usually this doesn't happen, it shouldn't happen again. And then it would happen again. And I was like, why isn't this fixed? And it's like, yeah, we're looking into it. Sorry about that. And then I wouldn't hear back from them. And like over 3 months this went on. So I straight up asked Harvest, I was like, hey, I'm having these problems with my current provider. You know, what would you guys be doing if this was your situation? And they told me, and I was like, okay, this is a good answer. And yeah, so I gave it a free month, and I was really happy with it. And like I said, I'm getting more features than I did with FreshBooks. So overall, it's been a pretty good investment. But like I mentioned or alluded to earlier, this whole idea of value based pricing, it kind of flies in the face of tracking your hours. And so, you know, I guess I'm trying to get to the sweet spot of really understanding where my time is going and all that. Yeah, sometimes for sleep though, like I'll sleep 5 hours, or I'll sleep 10 hours. You know, it's just because if I don't have work, you know, I'll just be like, yeah, screw it, you know, and I'll hit the snooze button. But if I have work, I'm up, I'm alert, and I'm ready to go, you know. And so it's tough when I don't have you know, clients giving me work, when I don't have anything in the pipeline. I really wish it wasn't that way. Like I've actually considered like going to get hypnotized or something, you know, just to like kind of rewire my brain. So I'm just like not obsessed with working, but, you know, more able to focus on getting things done and not, you know, cleaning my room instead of actually sitting down and, you know, drawing the comic and all that stuff.
Mm. No, I know that feeling, though admittedly my room needs a lot of cleaning.
So,
But
go ahead, Bill.
I generally make a point of taking my hours very seriously. So up at the desk at 8 and all that.
Yeah, I definitely have a routine to my day, and having a timesheet next to me helps.
Yeah, you keep an Excel sheet, right? Like
No, I actually keep a physical timesheet.
It's 4:30.
I'll grab a blank one here. Just pull it out. Next to my desk is a folder, a ring binder, and on this page is a blank page that I write down various notes and things throughout the day that come up, like who I called or what type of hand tool colors I'm using on the project. But what I do is I write down in this red column, and it's broken up in 15-minute increments, what I plan to do during the day. And then as I go through the day, I write down what I actually do. And then I do at the end of the week, I look at all these and I compare them. And then I can actually see changes. I've made changes to my business based on this. Like back before email, when fax machines were first being a thing, I was noticing that I was spending a lot of time delivering projects to clients, and that I realized part of that was me listening to them talk about their dog. Yeah, no, not actually about the project, but I'd go over there expecting to get a sign off, have them look at it, and then I'd be there for half an hour, then I'd have to drive home. And then I realized, hey, if I sent them a fax instead, or if I sent the thing to them by a courier, and my clients were kind of going, oh, we don't want to pay courier costs. I said, well, it's either that or you're going to have to pay. Right up till now, the time I've spent driving to your location and showing the stuff has been free. I can't afford that anymore. So either you pay me my hourly rate for when I'm traveling to you, or we pay a courier, which is cheaper, or you get yourself a fax machine. You Luddite, you. And so I did everything by fax, modem, and courier, and that brought in, there was a 30% increase in my income because I was doing that much less running around. I mean, I spent a lot of my time. I mean, I lived in Ballard. In Seattle, it takes you 20 minutes to get anywhere in Ballard. Just to get to Seattle takes 20 minutes.
Well,
it's like you live in the U District, Bill.
Yeah, Ballard is not, but Ballard is in between canals and a freakishly steep hill. So if you're having a car, there is no way to get to it or get out of it in under a half hour. The only, though it always amuses me, this is one of the instances where I have the advantage of being a bicyclist, because there's something called the Burt Gilman Trail, which allows me to get around all of that.
There's a roadway that goes along the Burt Gilman Trail, but at certain times of the day, it's packed with cars. But yeah,
the
but
Burt Gilman Trail.
Back to time tracking, it was you see other little things. Like I could find clients that were deadwood clients that were taking up too much of my time and trim them down. Or like I was doing a lot of work for this one health agency concern, and I ended up coming back to them on the next bid, and they said, hey, this bid is 3 times as much as your other projects. Why is that? I said, because you guys lie. And they go, what do you mean? You say that you're the person who's going to sign off on this. But no, what happens is I do this for you, you take it to another person, they then have to sign off on it, and they don't. They have to redo that project, and then they take that project to a third person, and then I'm dealing with that line of changes, and that's really 3 times the amount of work, and it shows up in my hours, and I got to start billing you for it because I'm only getting 1/3 of what I was expecting. And so unless you say you won't do it again, but here in the last 3 projects in a row, that's exactly what you've done. So they ended up not calling me anymore after that.
Right. Yeah.
But on the other hand, I was then picking up another client that was paying me the amount of time. And I was also looking at it kind of going, wow, I'm charging this rate and that rate and this rate and that rate. Screw all that noise. It's just going to be my top rate for everything. If they want to hire me to do production work instead of illustration, they're going to have to pay that higher rate. I'm just not going to do something for cheaper that I don't want to be doing when I could be doing this thing that I want to do for higher.
Yeah.
You just make choice. You start, once you see it on paper and not just in your gut feeling, you can make the right choices.
Yeah, I'm starting to think more along those lines. I've really taken a liking to this whole idea of value-based pricing, though. Have you guys ever heard of Jonathan Stark?
You mentioned him before previously, but I don't think you've gone into him. Does he have like a YouTube page or something, or?
I don't know. Let's see.
So, or was it a book that you took of his, or a seminar?
So he's been showing up here. I'll put a link to his site. He's been showing up. How did I find out about it? Oh, so my business mastermind group, when I had one of my one-on-one calls with one of the participants, she told me about it. And so I signed up for his newsletter. And one of the things I really like about his newsletter is every Sunday he makes a comic. It's a very it's like clip art, and like the art doesn't change, just the dialogue changes. And
is he the guy who does the dinosaur strip?
No, that's somebody else. But same kind of concept. But I've been really finding his comics to be a lot of fun on Sundays. So he's shown up on the Future's YouTube channel. If you guys follow The Future with Chris Stowe and all that stuff, there's actually a really good episode where he was interviewed. It's about an hour and a half long, but it kind of gives you the basics of value-based pricing. But essentially, what happens is whenever you have a client call you up, you start asking him. Jonathan calls it the why questions, like why this project, why now, why me, and so you start asking these questions to try to get them to sell you without having you actually kind of tout your your excellence or your expertise or something. It's like, why did you come to me? Oh, well, we saw your stuff and all this, And it's like, okay, so we've already established that, I could do this and all that. You don't actually say that, but you're kind of like, you're establishing the guidelines. Why now? Well, because, our competitor just came out with something and we have a big bid coming up or something. But with all these why questions, you kind of eventually lead to like, why is this important? So you're hiring me for an illustration. What happens if you don't get this illustration? Oh, well, there's this expectation that we have like really interesting, cool art for our subscribers for our magazine. So if you kind of drop the ball this 1 month, like, what do you think would happen? Would you lose subscribers? Yeah, it's happened before. We lost like 20% of our subscribers because they were really upset about it. I'm just making this up.
Right.
It's like, okay, so how much is a subscriber? It's like, well, the value of a subscriber is maybe like, geez, I don't know, maybe like $100 a year. And it's like, so like, what's your current subscription base? And you start actually getting to the number, right? And so say that the illustration project, like, if it goes well, they have the potential of keeping on like $100,000 of revenue, right? And so you say, okay, well, if I could guarantee that this is going to definitely work and my illustration is going to be amazing, I would charge you that $100,000. But I'm going to discount for uncertainty, and I'm just going to charge you 10%. And so this illustration is going to cost $10,000, and that's already discounted for uncertainty. And I'll, and you can include your other stuff, like, I'll give you 3 rounds of revisions, but that's it. How's that feel for you? And by that point, you've already kind of explained your value, right? The whole idea that this is valuable. It's not just you ticking off a box. Like, I'm providing a service that actually impacts your bottom line. And you get there by having this conversation with them, and you start making it kind of more obvious that, you're not just a provider, you're actually a partner that's helping them with a critical aspect of their business. And if you get to the point where it's just like, I don't really think you need this, you just walk away, because otherwise you're just an extra pair of hands, right? You're just kind of, adding some kind of intricate, nice little wallpaper to something that doesn't really need it, right? And so one of the things that really stuck with me when I was watching that YouTube video was Jonathan Stark says, like, from the get-go, he's like, I'm going to be the most expensive option for you guys, just so you know. Which is kind of like what you were saying, Mark. But I love that, right? Because right off the bat, people are like, well, this other person was saying he could do it for this much. Stark says, okay, great. Well, I guess we're done then, right? You're going to hire him? And it's just like, he doesn't even have those conversations. He's like, I'm going to be the most expensive guy. And I absolutely love that, because by them choosing you when they know you're the most expensive option, they're valuing your expertise. They know they're paying a premium for you, right? Like, it's just such a beautiful setup. So I'm really trying to re-gear my operation to kind of fall on those lines. And like I said, it's tough because everything up to this point has been hourly, like keeping track of my hours, like building my prices based on my hours and all that stuff. It's a tough thing to break out of. And like I said, there's other reasons for it too, but yeah, just like this whole idea that I could do the same work I'm doing right now, but essentially be charging 3 times as much for it, and feel really good about it, but not work 3 times harder. It's like, why not, right? That's amazing.
No, I know that feeling. I mean, I'm obviously can't even imagine being as good a haggler as Mr. Stark, but I know that one of the biggest steps in my career was learning not to fall for the, oh, we're checking the art schools line.
Oh yeah. I mean, if it comes down to it, and I'm really bad at this. I don't know if it's a bad thing or not, but like when I talk to somebody and they're like, oh, well, maybe we'll do that. We'll keep you in mind, but we really need to save money, and we're going to, look up an art student or a recent grad. I just did this last week, actually. I was like, okay, well, it sounds like you're not going to use me, but just, here's some things to keep in mind. And so I was like telling him about, God, what did I tell him? I was like, you know, I when I do logo designs, I try to take a quick check through the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to make sure I'm not conflicting with existing designs and stuff like that. I was like, you know, you need to keep these legal things in mind, and you know, a student might not have learned that in school, and so that's where I provide the value to, you know, and that's where a lot of this. Not a lot of it, but some of this cost comes from, you know, when you're paying for my work as opposed to a recent grad. But I don't know. My thinking is like, okay, if it goes badly, and they'll come back to me and they'll be like, yeah, we could have been better off had we just used you in the first place, or or you know, it goes fine, but they realize they really need to take the next project more seriously and invest in it, and so they come back to me because it's obvious that I know what I'm doing. You know, I try to, I guess I offer value just by talking to me, which, you know, I don't know what other people would think about that.
Mm.
Oh, it's a good strategy.
Ugh. Any of you guys have something you could show?
Oh, definitely. Mark's already seen this one, though I touched it up just slightly when after I showed it to him, but just a second. But I finally finished that poster that I've been tweaking. So,
Oh, hang on, Bill. Let me go ahead and allow for share screen. There, you should have access.
okay. But I'm not to be completely egotistical. I am very pleased with this. Oh, come on. The only thing I've been thinking about after the fact is whether there needs to be a little bit more shade right up here, but otherwise I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, it looks like the tree is glowing. Is it supposed to?
Well, it's bleach white in comparison to everything else, so.
Okay.
But yes, it kind of as far as the context of what it's an illustration of, it's definitely, even if it's not, it definitely works that way.
Yeah, good stuff. How was it to make that reflection? Was it as difficult as you were thinking it would be, or did it end up just being pretty straightforward?
As far as making the reflection, that part was easy. Pretty much I just copied the folder and flipped it upside down. The hard part was the sort of figuring out what needed to be blanked out around the edges and making it putting in a few layers with filters on them just to make it look more like a reflection. Though admittedly, when I was looking at real life references, a lot of the woodland reflections in ponds are actually very clear. But
you know, I understand like the symmetry, like the 50%, you know, content, and then the reflection on the other 50%.
mm-hmm.
But it weighs so heavily that I almost expect like there to be more to the reflection, like maybe a different expression or something that you don't see in reality, but it's in the reflection or something. Like it's almost asking me to just like look in the reflection and see what's there that I don't see up top.
I mean, to a certain extent, I wanted it to have the top be more, but I wanted to have the trees face on both sides.
Why is that important to you?
Partially because the whole, at least as far as the context of the story, he's being watched. It makes the fact that he's being technically watched by the tree more overwhelming. At least that's my argument.
You've been working on this image for so long, Bill. I think you've done a fairly good job on it.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm trying to get better at my production. Back to what Ian was saying, of talking about time management. I've been making a point of using an egg timer whenever I'm working on these. So that's actually been very effective because it keeps me from picking at them. And to a certain extent, I haven't been working on it quite as long because this is essentially my epic sketch time project. But even so, I want to try and, because this one I was very pleased just how smoothly it went with some of the pieces that I'm kind of fighting, if you know what I mean. I can waste a huge amount of time just picking at things. And so the egg timer trick has been very effective for that.
I wish I could show you what I'm working on, but it's going to be on a book, and there's an NDA in progress. So, but I can show you that I've been drawing cats. I wasn't going to do anything for Inktober, but
I've been checking it out on your feed. It's been pretty cool.
So,
are you just using people's photos and just kind of vector art on top?
Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing. Now, originally my plan had been to go in and actually do more of an ink style and cartoony style thing on the cat, but I thought I'll just warm up, and I did black outlines on the first cat, and then the second cat just lent itself so easily to just doing fills. I kind of fell back onto a style I used to do in college. And the next thing you know, everybody's posting me pictures of their cats to draw. So I have this huge selection of, and I thought, you know what? What's wrong with, doing a little bit of fan service for a change and drawing some cats? So
yeah, portraits like that, I mean, that gets pretty popular pretty quick. Like, suddenly everybody wants one.
So this is I think I got some glare going on. Let's try that angle.
Are you doing these in Procreate?
Yeah, I'm doing all these in Procreate.
They look vector. Right? Can you do vector in Procreate?
Nope. This is just plain, simple, solid fills.
Wow.
Let's see. This is one that you'll be seeing in a couple days.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I'm about 6 ahead. Let's see. So I won't show you the one that's coming out tomorrow, but some of the here's a layout I was particularly happy with.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's one of those ones where I almost think you've made it up, and then I'm sure I'd find 5 different photos of a cat fitting itself into a crevice like that.
And some of the photos that, this one's, there you can see it. If I turn this one had some very subtle coloration because it was a white cat with one of those very faint ghost tabby markings on it.
Yeah.
So I try to
Well, yeah, it's a pretty cool series you got going on so far. How do you feel about it?
I'm wondering, how can I make money off these cats? Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not already. Like, these are people that are giving you like photos to use, right?
Right. So far, I've gotten a request for one print, but I just sent her the file because I didn't want to deal with doing a turnaround of a print right now. Um, but I'm thinking, okay, I am doing them at a pretty high resolution. I'll have 30 of them done. I could easily do I always think in quantities of 52 because there are 52 weeks in a year and there could be a 52-week calendar. So certainly there could be a cat calendar with the 12 best of them. And then use the less popular ones and put them as like little end caps. But I'm trying not, some of them I can do really quickly. Some, half an hour, like that one black cat. That was easy enough to do. It just lent itself to a nice silhouette. It's the ones where you have those tiger stripes are the biggest pain in the butt to do. And one of the earliest ones I did was a tiger striped cat that had been aging and trying to make its features look a little slightly older. It came out pretty good, but I spent like way too much, at least an hour drawing that thing.
One fun thing, have you ever seen Junji Ito's Cat Diary?
No.
It's very funny. You're familiar with Junji Ito's work, right?
Remind me.
Spiral, it's horror comics.
Oh, yes. Now, a matter of fact, I even have a collection of some of his comics over here.
Yeah. Well, his cat diaries are fun because they're completely innocuous, sweet stories about his cats, but he doesn't change his style at all. So it still has the exact same mood as his horror stories, but they're cute cat stories.
Now, I have his second collection of horror stories, but not his first collection of horror stories. And I wish I had his first collection. Oh man, I got so many books in here. I know I have his stuff, not one of them up on the wall, on the shelf here. Oh well. Yeah, but thank you for reminding me who he was.
Mm-hmm.
I am having the hardest time with this Photoshop file.
Stan's trick didn't work?
No, I got the file in. I'm just trying to do things on it that I couldn't do in Procreate. And I'm so used to working in one file rather than the other.
Well, I sadly don't have too much to share, but I'll show you guys something I did really quickly. Well, I say really quickly. Thanks to Mark, I found out about a sticker mule deal this week for die cut stickers, which I missed last time. And so I was trying to jump on it, and I made this one for my company. And then last company I did branding for, Fireline Science, I told him about it, and he was interested in getting a die cut sticker as well. So I had to figure out like how to make a good one. Like, this isn't how the logo usually looks, but I think it makes a good sticker.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was fun. I'm looking forward to getting those. I was thinking about like usually every year, I try to send out like greeting cards to clients and family. And
Those watercolor ones you've been showing?
what's that?
Those watercolor ones you've showed us before?
Yeah, maybe.
I think I remember the one with the birds.
Birds. Oh, okay. No, that was a client advertisement illustration.
Mm-hmm.
But I might be able to pull up what I did last year really quick. But anyway, I was thinking this year for my Patreon backers, I would send them a card. I don't know how to get their addresses, but I guess I'll find out if that's possible. And then just include a sticker in it, right? Because why not? So, it's definitely not one of the advertised perks for the Patreon, but, I definitely want to express my thanks. Let me see if I can find that one I did last year.
Yeah, I've been playing around with doing character stickers, though I'm not sure if the 3x3 format is big enough.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm really interested in checking out and trying to make happen is a sticker sheet. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. That would definitely work. Because right now I've been thinking about just making and stocking up on designing and slowly stocking up on cheap merchandise for once the conventions become a thing again. So that was what I made the poster for.
It's 5 o'clock.
Oh, we have to sign off because there's a 5 o'clock thing happening with the guild that I want to go attend. So,
Okay.
Thank you guys. Next week we'll be doing another epic sketch time at the same time at 4 o'clock. Hopefully I'll remember to sign off a few minutes before heading off to the other one. Join us for Freelance Fandango with the Graphic Artists Guild. That's weekly, Mondays from 11 to 1 o'clock. As a matter of fact, if you go to Eventbrite, you'll see a number of guild events scattered throughout the week that are available to both members and non-members. Bye, guys. See you next week. Thanks for joining me this week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.